Hi, I'm Raja Faisal, and in this video I will be highlighting how India assisted Israel to gather information and intelligence from within Iran in this war. But before that, I will be highlighting how Israel successfully conducted air raid within Iran, and as you know, majority of the military command of Iran, they have been eliminated by Israelis. How efficient it was and what was the role of India, that will be highlighted in this video, and I would be requesting you to watch the full video so that you can get the details of it. The ground radars, they were eliminated. How? Of course, they could have been done by the hard kill or maybe by the soft kill. Soft kill means by jamming them. That is being reported that they must have been jammed. But there is another aspect which is being highlighted not only by the media but of course the Israeli authorities as well, and that is related to how efficiently they utilize their intelligence services and ground intelligence, the locations for all important radars and anti-aircraft and of course their air defense locations, and them locations they were provided to them by the intelligence services, and it is being reported and accepted by Israeli authorities as well that they have used drones that were originating from within Iran, and of course their agents, they have been active within Iran, and in some cases few of the places that got hit, of course these agents, they were not far, almost around 7 to 800 meters away from the actual location, and that's how they conducted the internal operation in Iran. After this first onslaught on the air defenses of Iran, of course, it was very easy for the Israeli fighter jets to penetrate, and of course, with the precision, they have been bombing the places within Iran, and they have claimed that, of course, the nuclear sites they have conducted air raids on, and then the high command, the very high command, the command of the military that was supposed to be sitting together next day to plan a retaliation in case Israel conducts any air raids, they were eliminated by Israel in this air raid, and it was of course made successful just because of one reason, that the air defenses they were neutralized initially, and that too with the help of the ground intelligence. Here, the most important aspect is how on earth Israel was so successful in having the ground intelligence. Well, of course, it is being reported that India has been behind it. Indian nationals, they have been, of course, reporting to Israel in assistance, and how that will be, of course, discussed in further in this video. And I would request you to watch further so that you can know how India assisted Israel. Important note here is that so far there is not a single statement from Indian Ministry of External Affairs regarding this attack, which was of course conducted by Israelis on Iran, and in which of course the high command, the military command of Iran, it has been eliminated, and of course more than 50 civilians, they lost their lives as well. So far, there is no condemnation, there is no statement from the Indian side. Why is it that India is not condemning it at all? Well, India is in alliance with Israel. Very recently, you must have seen how India was helped by Israel, and there are reports that Israelis, they were present in India, especially in Srinagar, when of course, the war between India and Pakistan was at full-fledged, and then, of course, during this raid, which was conducted by India on Pakistan in May this year, you must have seen that Harrops, they were used on Pakistan, and Harrops, of course, they have been given to India by Israel. So this is the level of Israel and India's cooperation and alliance, and that alliance must be playing its role in what assistance India might have given to Israel from within Iran against Iran. Here it is important to highlight a case from Qatar. You must have heard about this case, and that was Qatar espionage case, which was of course lodged against 8 of Indian retired Navy officers that were present in Qatar. And what kind of espionage? When it was further probed and the investigation took place, well, overall, the case and the details of case, they are yet to come out, because they were, of course, put a curtain on the request of Indians and maybe some other forces as well, but Qatar did not disclose it. But overall, the reports are that them 8 Indian Navy officers, and along with them there were civilian staff from within India as well, who were working for a certain company, and that certain company was actually involved in espionage. And all of these 8 officers, they were working for Mossad, and they were spying for Mossad in Middle East, and they were caught red-handed. And then later on, of course, they were declared guilty and they were handed with the punishment and the imprisonment in Qatar. And that case is an evidence, that case is an example which I am just showing it to you, how Indian officers and how Indian retired officers and the existing officers of RAW, they help out Mossad, and how they are very well connected with Mossad. And India and Israel, they are on board against all of the Muslim countries. Why so? It is not a secret now that, of course, both of the countries, India and Israel, they have a design, they have a very nefarious design against the Muslims, especially. When we talk about Zionism, this ideology, it's a mirror ideology to, of course, Hindutva ideology. Whatever Zionism does in Middle East, Hindutva ideology does in India, and wants to do it in its surrounding. And that is why we have been seeing that the way Israel always talks about greater Israel, in the same manner, Hindutva ideology always promotes, and Modi ji even talks about it, and Adityanath, Yogi Adityanath, and Amit Shah, all of these people, they have always been highlighting the mantra of Akhand Bharat and Mahabharat. And of course, this is the ideology, this is the similarity between both of the genocidal ideologies. Of course, we know that Zionism is a racist ideology. Similar is the case with the Hindutva ideology as well. It is a racist ideology mainly against Muslims, and then against Christians as well, and then of course even against their own Dalits who declare themselves as Hindu in their Aadhaar card. Even they are not spared, because it's the bigoted and narcissist society which we are seeing in India today. And the similar is the case with the Zionism as well in today's Israel. So both of the ideologies, they have natural hatred towards Muslims mainly. That is why this nexus and this alliance is such a natural alliance, and it needs to be looked into how India has been associating and assisting with Israel in this current hour of Iran and Israel war. That needs to be looked into by of course Iranians as well. Another example which I want to highlight is of Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav. You must have remember that in 2016, Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav was caught red-handed in Balochistan in Pakistan, and he was entering into Pakistan from the Iranian side. And don't forget, Kulbhushan Jadhav had a passport that said Mubarak Hussain Patel. So he was pretending to be Mubarak Hussain Patel and a businessman while doing all of these activities within Pakistan. Of course, he was behind facilitating and financing terrorism in Pakistan, in Balochistan, in Karachi, in other parts of Pakistan. And of course, the whole nexus was being activated by him at that time. He was caught red-handed by Pakistan. Why was he entering into Pakistan from the Iranian side? Well, there are many reasons, and one of the reasons is that, of course, Iran and India, they have good relations in terms of economic relations as well. And of course, when it comes to their relations, they have always maintained this relation to an extent that they ended up giving the Chabahar port as well to India. And currently, Chabahar port's terminal, which is Shahid Bahishti terminal, that is under the control of Indians. And initially they required it because they wanted to trade with Afghanistan. Still they have it in the guise of trade, in the guise of economic ties. Of course, they have been, sending in spies, sending in espionage doctors within Iran, within Pakistan. And of course, when it comes to Iranian intelligence, maybe they were asleep, like they were asleep during this time when the whole nexus was active within Iran and they didn't know about it. And by the way, when we talk about this very nexus, the way they conducted it, it had so many similarities with whatever happened in Russia last month. To me, I think it's more like a CIA footprint or Mossad footprint that is being, of course, mirrored in both of the countries, in Russia and Iran. Of course, the raids which were conducted within Russia, they were quite similar to the initial raids, the initial drone raids conducted in Iran, because the whole attack was, of course, originating from within the country, from within Moscow, from within Russia, and at the same time from within Tehran and from within the whole Iran. So this has so many similarities. So to me, it has a footprint of Mossad and CIA, and that has been utilized. In this whole scenario, of course, Israel couldn't send in their own spies on ground. So in this whole scenario, Israel relied upon India to utilize their ground source, which was present in Iran, in shape of trade, in shape of economic ties between both of Iran and India. By the way, India still buys 425,000 barrels a day crude oil from Iran. Every day, Iran is selling that crude oil to, of course, India. That is an economic need of Iran. But when it comes to India, of course, India has its own design. And Indian workers who are working within Iran in the guise of, trade visa or business visa or whatever the visas they are holding in there, of course, both of the countries have good ties. Them people, eventually, they are working for Mossad, they are working for Israel, and they are making sure that Israel is successful in Iran. According to my sources, the Indian firms that are still sending their workers and they have on-ground presence within Iran are as such: Shapurji Pallonji, L&T Subramaniam, SR Ravi Roya, and Adani, Gautam Adani. So all of these companies, they are active within Iran. They have a workforce in Iran. In the guise of who? You never know. They might be, once again, like Commander Kulbhushan Yadav was in Pakistan. Like there were naval officers, retired naval officers, in the guise of working for a company. They were working, they were spying, they were conducting an espionage within Qatar. If they can do it there, they can very well do it in Iran. It is entirely up to Iranian authorities to scrutinize all of these people. And to me, I think it was an intelligence failure, counterintelligence failure at the Iranian part. Iranians, they must have been proactive about it. Of course, they should have known the kind of relations Iran and India are having. At this hour, it would be very important for Iran to probe within Iran. Where does it lack? Where does the problem lies? And one of the problems will be, of course, Indian presence within Iran. I think in coming days, it will be probed by Iran. Till then, of course, I am keeping an eye on Iran. What are the sort of steps they are going to take in coming future to further secure themselves? So far, Iranian counterintelligence has completely failed in this bout. And to me, I think they need to fix themselves before a larger disaster can take place in Iran once more. That's it from my side today. Take care of yourself.